Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my channel, Science of Life with Dr. Yousaf. Today I am going to start the reproductive physiology, and first we will discuss the male reproductive system, physiology of male reproductive system. But as my routine, one ayah from Holy Quran and its translation. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما أرسلنا من رسول إلا ليطاع بإذن الله ولو أنهم إذ ظلموا أنفسهم جاءوك فاستغفروا الله واستغفر لهم الرسول لوجدوا الله توابا رحيما. ये सूरह निसा की आयत है. मैं सिंपल ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ देता हूँ कि हमने हर रसूल को सिर्फ इसलिए भेजा कि अल्लाह ताला के हुक्म से उसकी फरमाबरदारी की जाए, रसूल की फरमाबरदारी की जाए. और अगर ये लोग जब उन्होंने अपनी जानों पर जुल्म कर लिया था तेरे पास आ जाते और अल्लाह से इस्तिग़फ़ार करते अगर गुनाह हो जाए, और फिर हुज़ूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के ज़माने में ये लोग आ जाते आपके पास और अल्लाह से माफ़ी मांगते और रसूल भी उनके लिए इस्तिग़फ़ार करते, तो यकीनन ये लोग अल्लाह ताला को माफ़ करने वाला मेहरबान पाते. तो रसूल की पैरवी हमारा काम है. रसूल आते इसलिए हैं कि अल्लाह के अहकामात लेकर आते हैं. तो हुज़ूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने अहकामात लाए और उन पर अमल करके दिखाया, फिर उनकी पूरी ज़िंदगी नमूना है. और अगर कोई गलती हो जाए फिर इस्तिग़फ़ार है उसके लिए. हुज़ूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की ज़िंदगी में हुज़ूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के आके माफ़ी मांगना और अल्लाह से माफ़ी मांगना, हुज़ूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम मौजूद हो, उनकी माफ़ी भी उनका भी शामिल हो जाए तो क्या ही बात है. अल्लाह पाक हमें समझ अमल की तौफ़ीक़ अता फ़रमाए. So I am going to discuss the male reproductive system. Usually we discuss under three headings the male reproductive system. One is the spermatogenesis, that is the formation of gamete. Reproduction is the formation of gametes and then the union of two gametes and the development of the new human being. That is the reproduction. So in male side, the gamete formation, which is termed as the spermatogenesis, gamete formation, that is one heading. We will discuss it. Then there is transmission of this gamete into the female genital tract, which is termed as the male sexual act. So we may discuss it again, transmission of male gamete into the female genital tract. And third is the control of all this, control of this male reproductive functions, hormonal control. Primarily it is the hormonal control. Some nervous mechanism is also involved, but primarily it is the hormonal control which we are going to talk about. So first today we will, before we can discuss the actual physiology, brief physiological anatomy we should know. Physiological, the main structure, the male reproductive system, the main structures involved are, as you know, the gonads are the testes in male, and then some ducts, epididymis, then the vas deferens, and then the seminal vesicle. We are going to describe all these. Seminal vesicle, these are the glands, special glands, male glands, and the prostate, the male gland, and the urethra, and the bulbourethral gland, mucus secreting gland there. So all these are the main structures involved in the male reproductive system. Gonad is the primary sex organ, that is the testis. This testis primarily comprises of large number of small tubules which are termed as the seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous or seminiferous tubules, and they are coiled tubules, and there are about 1,000. Number of these tubules is nearing the 1,000 small tubules. They are coiled together and they are forming the most of the mass of the testis. So the length of each of these 1,000 or 900 seminiferous tubule is more than half a meter. So about less than 1 kilometer, that is 0.75 almost kilometer is if you join all these tubes, these are the seminiferous tubule in which the gametogenesis, spermatogenesis is going to take place. So these seminiferous tubules are lined by that special epithelium which is known as germinal epithelium, which contains those gamete forming cells, spermatogonia we call them. So those germinal epithelium sperms are formed here in from the germinal epithelium. Then when these sperms have developed here, we are going to discuss how these sperm develop here, spermatogenesis we are going to talk. We are just talking about the structures involved, main structure, physiological anatomy we are talking. So I am not discussing the physiology or the process or the functions. So all these tubules, 900 tubules, they empty their contents into another quite long tubule, but that is a much bigger and dilated tubule, which is known as epididymis. So all these contents of the seminiferous tubule, they are passed on into another tubule, which is quite bigger than the seminiferous tubule. So that is known as epididymis. This is epididymis. These seminiferous tubules, they contain those sperm-forming cells, the primordial cells which are responsible for the formation of the sperm. They are known as spermatogonia. Spermatogonia. One is spermatogonium and plural is spermatogonia. These are the stem cells involved in the spermatogenesis or male gametogenesis. So in the seminiferous tubule, this is one, spermatogonia, and then there are cells which are known as sustentacular cells, and they sustain and promote the development of the sperm. Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells are Sertoli cells they contain. They are responsible for the what we term as the promote the development of the sperm. We are going to talk about the function. हम इसके discuss करेंगे. So we are just talking about the structure. In the spermatogonia का structure underlining में क्या है? There are the spermatogonia and there are the sustentacular cells or the Sertoli cells. Then outside the seminiferous tubule, in the interstices between the seminiferous tubule, there are cells, scattered cells or groups of cells present outside these tubules. Interstices between the seminiferous tubule, they are known as interstitial cells of Leydig. Interstitial cells of Leydig, they are responsible for the production of the male hormone testosterone. Is produced from these. So this is the diagram. This is probably the picture from the histology. These are the cut seminiferous tubule. They are lined by the epithelium, which is known as the germinal epithelium, and toward the basement membrane there are cells. This diagram पे मैं ज़्यादा explain कर रहा हूँ. Spermatogonia are toward the basement membrane, and then they differentiate and the cells move toward the lumen, and in the lumen the sperms will be formed. They will be released into the lumen and they will go to the epididymis then. So these are the cut section. Histology में detail में आप anatomy में पढ़ेंगे. So this is we are concerned with the spermatogonia and the sustentacular cell. These are the spermatogonia. These are the different stages of the formation of the sperms, and there are big cells, sustentacular cells, these cells which are extending from the basement into the lumen. That's why this pseudostratified epithelium, this is classified in the pseudostratified epithelium, because there are cells which are extending from the basement to the lumen, and there are multiple layers of the cells as well. So it is pseudostratified epithelium, sustentacular cells. So the spermatogonia toward the basement membrane, and then the different stages of the formation of the sperm toward the lumen, and inside the lumen the sperm will be released from the this epithelium. This is again a diagram, not very good diagram. This is the germinal epithelium, and there are interstitial cells here and there. This is that seminiferous tubule, cut seminiferous tubule. Epididymis, all these seminiferous tubule lined by the germinal epithelium, which we have talked about, spermatogonia and the sustentacular cell, we have seen the diagram. Epididymis, all these seminiferous tubules, they empty their contents into that bigger tubule, which is known as epididymis. And so this is the leads to a bigger tubule. This epididymis, we will discuss the functions of epididymis. हम सिर्फ anatomy फिलहाल discuss कर रहे हैं. So these contents of the epididymis, then they are passed on into a much bigger tube, which is known as vas deferens, VD, simply this is abbreviated. That is vas deferens. This is a big tubule. This vas deferens, this takes all the contents from the epididymis to the prostate, and prostatic, it joins the prostatic secretion then into the urethra. So the last part of this vas deferens, when it enters into the prostate, it is dilated, and that is known as ampulla of the vas deferens. Okay, diagram में हम explain करेंगे. So this is dilated tubule vas deferens, and before it enters into the prostate, there is dilatation, which is the ampulla of the vas deferens. So this is responsible for the storage of the sperm before ejaculation. So this enters into prostate, as we will see, and where it enters into the prostate, there is another gland which is opening on each side of the prostate, both sides. एक इधर ट्यूब आ रही है, एक इधर आ रही है. On each side of the prostate, दोनों vas deferens के साथ, there is another gland which is known as seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle. This misnomer, but it is still retained. Seminal vesicle, नाम तो ये बताता है कि vesicle which contains semen. Actually, it is part of the semen secretion. It is a gland, secretion of which is the part of the seminal semen. So seminal vesicle on each side of the prostate gland. Diagram में हम देखेंगे, clear हो जाएगा. And then the contents of this vas deferens and seminal vesicle, they are added to another duct which is known as ejaculatory duct, which is passing through the prostate. Prostate के अंदर से गुजर रही है. So this is known as ejaculatory duct. So ejaculatory duct receives the contents of the ampulla of the vas deferens and the seminal vesicle. Then the prostatic ducts, they also empty into this ejaculatory duct. वो भी इसमें add होती हैं. All empty, all these contents of the ejaculatory duct, prostatic duct, seminal vesicle, all these contents are then added into the urethra at the time of ejaculation. Mucous glands throughout the entire length of this male genital tract में मौजूद हैं, but there are special glands which are known as the bulbourethral gland. Mucous glands are present throughout the urethra, and special bulbourethral gland at the beginning of the urethra. ये आप diagram में देखेंगे. This diagram from your guidance. This is the seminal. This is the mass of the testis, seminal vesicles, and all these seminiferous tubules. And these seminiferous tubules, they join together and they empty into the epididymis. This is epididymis. अगली diagram में ज़्यादा clear हो जाएगा. And this epididymis then empties its contents into this big tube, which is known as vas deferens. This is vas deferens. Vas deferens, and it enters into, this is the prostate gland. One side, एक side पे prostate gland, and where it is entering into the prostate gland, there is the seminal vesicle, and this is the ejaculatory duct, into which the ampulla of the vas deferens, this is dilated part of the ampulla of the vas, the ampulla of the vas deferens and seminal vesicle, they are added here, and then the prostatic secretions are added, and this is the urethra. This is the urinary bladder. This is urinary bladder, and this urethra is started. This is the urethra and the prostatic part of the urethra, into which the prostatic secretions are added. All these are then ejaculated into this urethra and penile urethra, where ejaculation will take place. And bulbourethral gland is also present. This is somewhere, this is bulbourethral gland is also present here. Mucous glands are present throughout the entire length of the urethra. This is again, this is histology, anatomy में पढ़ेंगे. We are concerned with this. This is the urinary bladder. These are the two ureters, and these are the two vas deferences. There are two seminal vesicles are emptying into the ejaculatory duct. Prostate, this is urethra, and prostatic secretions, etc. They are passed on into the urethra. That's how this the arrangement or the anatomy, physiological anatomy of that is. So this is male reproductive tract. That is, testes produce the spermatozoa. They produce from the spermatogonia, and sperms, they enter into the epididymis. अभी हमने explain किया. That is, this is what is epididymis? This is elongated tube with head, body, and tail. हमने एक elongated tube ही कहा था ना, bigger than the seminiferous tubule. It has got body roughly. This is anatomically एक बड़ा वाला dilated area, then the body or tail join the vas deferens. So there is elongated tube with body, head and tail, and it monitors and adjusts the fluid in the seminiferous tubule. इसका important function हम probably next lecture में discuss करेंगे. Maturation फिजियोलॉजिकल मैच्योरेशन ऑफ द स्पर्म एपिडिडमस में होती है, उसको हम प्रॉपर टाइम पे डिस्कस करेंगे। तो इट मॉनिटर्स एंड एडजस्ट द फ्लूइड इन द सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल, वो जो फ्लूइड वहां से आ रहा है उसको कंट्रोल करती है। सो इट स्टोर्स एंड प्रोटेक्ट्स द स्पर्मेटोजोआ एंड इट इज इन्वॉल्व्ड इन द फिजियोलॉजिकल मैच्योरेशन ऑफ द स्पर्म्स। उसको हम डिस्कस, व्हाट इज दैट फिजियोलॉजिकल मैच्योरेशन, वहां पे डिस्कस करेंगे। So it facilitates functional maturation, physiological maturation, functional maturation of the spermatozoa जब इसमें होता है। So this is testis and this is that the epididymis. This is the head portion of the epididymis. This is the body and then the tail. This tail will join the vas deferens. ये उसका कट सेक्शन है, उसके अंदर भी सीलिएटेड एपिथेलियम है, वो तो एनाटॉमी में आप पढ़ेंगे, बट वी आर कंसर्न विद ओनली इसका फंक्शन जो है हम डिस्कस करेंगे नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में। दिस डायग्राम इज अगेन दी सेम, मेरे ख्याल में ज़्यादा अच्छी डायग्राम यही है जिसमें हमें समझ आ गई है। ये गाइटन की डायग्राम है, दिस इज दी हेड, बॉडी एंड टेल ऑफ दी एंड देन दी वास डिफरेंस। नेक्स्ट वीडियो इंशाल्लाह वी विल डिस्कस, ये तो हमने जस्ट फिजियोलॉजिकल एनाटॉमी के लिए ये लेक्चर हमने रखा है। नेक्स्ट वीडियो इंशाल्लाह वी विल डिस्कस दी फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द स्पर्म और स्पर्मेटोजेनेसिस, एक्चुअल फिजियोलॉजी हम डिस्कस करेंगे। दिस लेक्चर वाज ओनली टू अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक anatomy which we should know to understand the physiology. So spermatogenesis or gamete formation we will discuss in next lecture inshallah. Thank you and please do share this to rest of the students. अभी ये reproductive system भी हमने शुरू कर दिया है, बाकी स्टूडेंट को भी शेयर करें और सब्सक्राइब भी करें so that ज़्यादा लोगों को फ़ायदा हो सके। Thank you very much. See you in